Hello. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the think tank Mirror African Diaspora Facebook Live. Mazi George, you're welcome to the show, Think Tank.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson. Thank you very much, and good evening from here.
So, yeah, I've been having a bit technical problem, so I've been trying to fix it. But I believe you can hear me loud and clear currently, right?
Yes, I can hear you.
So I think we are supposed to have Mr. Mazi Ezeruom. We are supposed to have him on this program today. So I wish to wait for him to join us, and then we can start. Meanwhile, you look pretty nice in your red top.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you. I was trying to see if I am, I don't know if I'm sitting, is my face coming out clear?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I can see it there. Yes.
Okay, good. Because it's looking as if it's a bit blurred, dark. I mean.
Okay. So
it's okay.
All right. So our topic today is about this secessionist or secessionism. First of all, I would like to thank every one of you guys out there listening to this program today. My name is once again Robinson Afamefna Andrews, broadcasting from Germany. This is Mirror African Diaspora, MAD. Live on Facebook. We want every one of you out there to listen, to call your friends, to pay attention, to be our guest tonight. On today's program, we are going to talk about secessionist as a perennial urge of humanity called by central government opposition. The question is, in this respect, is why do some countries achieve secessions or secessionism and others do not? So I'm going to have this discussion today with Mazi George in the BC and Mazi Ezeruom. Unfortunately, however, Mazi Ezeruom is yet to be here, and I wish to wait a bit for him so that we can start together. Mazi George, you are, I mean, you have no problem if we can just wait for 1 or 2 minutes before we commence.
Yes, there is no problem.
Okay.
There's no problem.
So meanwhile, today is we are Saturday, 25th of September, 2021.
You're right.
Today is supposed to be today is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's birthday.
Exactly.
Yes, and we wish him happy birthday. However, even though this is not today's program, I think we should use this opportunity to wish him happy birthday.
Yes. And of course, peace of mind wherever he is.
Exactly.
This is a trying time for him.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And his family, you know, must be a tough time. The family must be going through a tough time currently. So, yes, we wish him all the best and pray that he will come out safely from the danger.
And triumphantly.
And triumphantly. Exactly.
Yes.
All right. So traditionally, the international community has rejected a kind of unilateral declaration of independence. As a result, de facto states or territories that have declared independence but are not member of the United Nations have been stigmatized. So on this note, I would ask the question, let's first of all begin with the question of why do people want to secede from a group? Secessionism is, as a matter of fact, the act of breaking up away from a group a group of community to which one belong, and then forming an entire new group. Whether it's political or in the field of art. You also have sectionism in the art, but that's not the topic we are discussing today. We are discussing about political issues that has to do with a group of people or ethnic group or distinct group of humankind breaking away from a group of people. So the question again is, why do people want to secede from a group, Mazindo?
I think it is this inborn act of self-determination that is in every man, in every race, in every society. But in most cases, it is being propelled by discontent. When an individual, a group of people, or a race is no longer comfortable with the status quo, with the way they are being governed, with the status where they are placed, then they begin to contemplate or think about governing themselves or, handling their own affairs their own way. So this is actually the primary cause of agitation for secession or breaking away. But I want to also say something. You know, when we talk of secessionism, or a group of people breaking away from an organization or a country, there are two sides to this story, right? There are people who were by nature or from onset living on their own, taking care of their own affairs. Somehow along the line, by historical accident or what have you, people are forced to be part of an entity which they never chose for themselves. So if they are not comfortable within that entity or society or group, then you see them agitating to leave. So in that case now, secessionism cannot be applied, because these are people who are, from onset autonomous, who are from onset taking care of their own affairs. They were underhandedly joined or handed over to a group of people or to a society which they never chose for themselves. So there are two sides of this secessionism. Like I just said, one angle to it is the people who were forced into a union against their will.
Okay.
Yes. The other one is a body, a country, or a group that has naturally or from onset been there. But then for one reason or the other, a group want to pull out, from this sort of original territory.
Okay. So what you are saying is that on the one hand, the urge for self-determination is one factor that one of the motivation for secession or secession, secession.
Yes.
And on the other hand, you are trying to you are trying to work on the word secessionism. You are seeing those people who are conquered by other people, and then try to regain their freedom. That you don't see that even as an act of secessionists or secession. Know what you're saying?
In this very context, that cannot be seen as
secession.
Yes, that cannot be seen because they were originally or formally on their own.
I would say that we will get to that one, the issue of terminology. I essentially wanted to forget about the terminology today, but since you have started talking about it, we will discuss about that as well. I have no problem. I mean, I find it also legitimate that we touch on the issue of terminology. Otherwise, people might get confused.
Confused, yeah.
So, but first of all, okay, let me say this. Most sovereign states do not recognize the right of self-determination. I mean, most states that are seen as democratic states do not essentially recognize the right of self-determination. And I mean, through secession in their constitution, many explicitly prohibit it. So, for example, the courts and the Catalanian faced nasty headway when they try to break away from the people that they are said to be part of. For example,
yes, from Spain, yes.
Yes, for example, let me first of all make example of the Kurds. You know, the Kurds you have them in Iran and even in Iraq.
In Turkey.
In Turkey, their problem is essentially concentrated in Turkey, but all over these areas that I've just mentioned, they have similar problem. They are not allowed to secede.
Yes.
And even when they went on a unilateral referendum, which they won with almost 80 or 90%, their referendum was declared illegal by the sovereign state that they are subjugated to. The same thing happened to the Catalonian. The Catalonian, in their effort to secede from Spain, has always been a problematic issue. Even when they had a referendum, they are just like the Kurds, they reached with 90%, they came out successfully. I mean, with the referendum, and yet their referendum was never recognized. Rather, it was termed as illegal. So, in this case, the independent referendum resulted from an internationally brokered peace agreement that ended the Sudan. The Sudan's long-standing civil war seems to be one of the successful secession in our own time. Apart from this Sudan referendum organized by the UN as well, we also have that of Kosovo. I can say that as another example of a national aspiration that received broader international support. However, the Declaration of Independence from Serbia was also supported by the US and European allies, but was rejected by Serbia and USS and Russia. So in this context, the question one would be asking is not just the motivation for secession, but also I would like to know why is it that some countries or some secessionist movements are successful and others are not? Why is it that some secessionist movements gain international support, such as this South Sudan, okay, and others do not? What is the reason, Mazindo?
That is the irony of democracy. That is actually the sanctimoniousness. I mean, in a layman's language, not what it is, form of government that we witness in the Western introduced democracy. You know, creating of a country as we have come to know it now is kind of taking place for those or for these countries that are sanctioned by the powers that be. In other words, there are vested interests, yeah, for when you say that United Nations had to organize this referendum or that referendum, there are powers, there are strong hands that are actually pushing or that are pushed that so and so country, should be given referendum or should be given autonomy to take care of their affairs. In the case of Kosovo, we all witnessed the fighting, the wars, and then the Cold War, most importantly. It was actually a long history that started with the Soviet Union. There was this Cold War we knew about. It was fought invisibly underground, in the night, in the air, and in the sea. Those of them who are into the war, they are all aware of what is going on. Russia, for one thing, Soviet Union, for one thing, will not want to disintegrate. They want to be seen as a formidable force to be reckoned with. The European, the Westerners, on their own part, would not like Soviet Union to be a threat. So they are kind of systematically trying to disintegrate Soviet Union. And one way or the other, you see them playing some funny cards with leaders of these separate unions. And at the end of the day, they cry and, movement, agitation to succeed is being witnessed here and there. That was actually how Soviet Union crumbled.
Well,
but there are...
Go on, go on.
Yes, you are talking of why these people succeed, or otherwise some countries succeed relatively very quick, and why some other countries doesn't succeed.
Yes, so for example, we witnessed the case of Darfur, South Sudan.
South Sudan, yes.
Yes, this was almost unanimously supported by the United States after a long war. That lasted how many years? Up to 10 years.
30 years.
I mean, but I'm talking about the serious, when it becomes more intensive. Okay. It has been lingering, of course. And then in 2011, it was decided that there should be South Sudan and then have their independence.
Yes. The Western world was, as at that point in time, not the best friend of the man in Khartoum, the president of Sudan. And, when something like that happens, you see some infighting, you see some behind the scene attack, you see some CIA activities, and eventually they would come up with this referendum. In other words, they are there to decide who gets freedom or not. And that is the funny aspect of it, why some other countries don't get independence or referendum or to succeed as they wanted, because these very powers that pulls the trigger behind the scene for one interest or the other, they may kind of wish or choose to allow the country stay together, not for the benefit of the citizens of that very particular country, even when the hell is breaking loose, in as much as it benefits them, these very powers that be. We witness it all over. In fact, African country, that is one of the reasons or factors holding Africa down, because people are not allowed, to develop at their own pace, to determine their future. I mean, to govern themselves. People are being held down by invisible hands and then subjected under the rulership of a puppet, you know?
Go on.
Yes.
Okay.
And when these people who are being held down, if they continue to agitate, they continue to lament, in most cases, they are being torn apart by poverty, by war, by unimaginable problems. Not just problem that come down from nowhere, is artificial problem created by this artificial form of governance. But then people will not be allowed to go. I mean, when I talk about these things, a country or a nation like Biafra, I will call it a nation. Chinua Achebe said there was a country, and there was, you know.
Is it a country or a nation? He said. Was it, there was a nation or was a country?
No, there was a country. There was a country.
Okay.
Yes, there was a country.
All right.
The book is here in front of me.
Okay.
This is a people that has existed, you know, from the word go. They have managed their affairs, they have governed themselves, they have never had issues with their neighbors until the invaders came.
Yes, but you have to, we have to understand that United Nations do not give support to unilateral referendum because they consider that to be an act of disobedience to the rules and regulation governing the act of independence and referendum. So,
but that is United Nations playing a double joker.
Okay.
If I may say, because the United Nations, they know, but rather they choose not to delve into that. They know that a soup of nation like the one which Biafra found in itself was never, you know, it has no basis for success.
Okay, let's first of all remain on the general aspect of it, on the global aspect of it. We still get to that issue of Biafra. But first of all, I would like to remain on the broader perspective of the problematic of secession, as we call it, perennial urge for mankind that is halted by the power that be, by the central government opposition. That is the topic today.
Yes.
And then we also, at this moment, would urge our viewers, we ask our viewers to please subscribe to Miro African Diaspora YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube, Miro African Diaspora TV.
Very important.
Very important. Please subscribe so that we continue this noble broadcast. We are pure journalistic enterprises. We have no intention for any ungodly thing, any evil thing. We are here to broadcast, to talk as it happens, to talk as it is unfolding. Yes. So we would like you viewers out there to look at our good work and subscribe also to our page, miroafricandiaspora.com. We publish every day. We are on daily publication. We publish news from abroad, from Africa, and local news as well. At the same time, you can visit our Instagram and our Facebook page. So that's it for now. And Mazi George, like we were saying, the act of secession is a perennial urge, it's inevitable. Mankind has always been engaged in trying to break away from a group and then form another group. And then out of that same group, out of that something new, you can still get people trying to form another group. The problem, however, as we have asserted, is that some sovereign country, some independent country, do not accept this act of secession via referendum. Even when some country, group want to have referendum in order to make it legitimate what they are doing, they are not giving this referendum. And then the case of Kosovo, the case of South Sudan that achieved it are just few. In that we have just mentioned the case of the Kurds and the case of the Catalanian that actually did not achieve it.
There was also this case of the East Timorese.
Yes.
The East Timor.
Yes.
That was, 7 years ago.
Exactly.
Or thereabout, yes.
So these are just few countries that we can mention at the moment. Now, we can say it clearly that United Nations, however, have a kind of placed a stigma or stigmatization on the act of secession. So in this case, secession has a stigma that goes with it. Each time you hear the word secessionist, it's actually not something good. So yes, so this terminology, now we are on it, also plays a role in defining those that are secessionists in their effort to separate from a country. United Nations, even though they are against secessionism, however, they do also put down that in as much as a sovereign nation is going against the individual rights, the human rights of the intending of a country of a group of people that is trying to secede, they consider these issues as development that could actually lead to secession.
There is also from the United Nations these right of indigenous people.
Yes, yes.
Indigenous people are also from the United Nations Charter also allowed, to pull out of a country, of a group, if they feel like they want to govern themselves.
Yes, there are almost 20 points or outlined, let me call it, reasons or factors that can lead to secessionism, to secession. However, what we must outline here, what we must mention here or emphasize here is that despite all these factors that are quite clear, there is still a stigma attached to the act of secession. Because
yes, the word secessionism has been so much kind of demonized.
Demonized, yes.
That people see it as a bad omen. A terror-related affair.
An undue behavior or conduct.
Yes.
In the eyes of the civilized world, so
yes.
to say.
So, whereas an individual, a group of people, indigenous population have this right. So it is now so ironic that when an indigenous population wants to break away, it becomes a very serious problem. I mean, there is politics behind some of these mess. You all know, even when the colonial masters are doing the rampaging, they never allowed the colonized to be free until, after wars or series of killings, torture, brutality, So it boils down on interest and to a larger extent, financial interest. not actually to the benefit of the people who are being governed, you know.
So now we have a more or less a kind of paradoxical approach to the whole thing, because on the one hand, United Nations consider the right of people to self-determination as a cardinal principle,
yes,
of modern international law. That is, they interpret the secession of people, or they think that the people have the right to choose their sovereignty and international principle status freely.
yes.
And I mean, without interference, subject to principle of equality of rights and opportunities, you know. So on the other hand, there is this stigmatization of secessionism, all right?
Yes.
Now, this is the question. Despite the UN stigmatization of a kind of unilateral secessionist effort, there are many proponents of separation in Nigeria. Okay, yes. Why? That is my first question. Another question would be, what are the motivation of this Nigerian move to secessionism or secession? What are the motivations?
The both questions can be answered in one. The principal motivation is misrule. When people are no longer, when the people don't feel accommodated in a system.
I mean, particularly in that of Nigeria.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that is actually what is going on. There is this high level of nonchalance on the part of the elite, the political elites. There is insecurity in every nook and cranny of Nigerian society. There is poverty. You know, Nigeria is supposed to be the breadbasket of the world, if not Africa. Yes, but the level of poverty that is being witnessed in the country is unbecoming, really. So people don't see it as a natural phenomenon. They see it as a deliberate act of, you know, the policy from the government of the day. And that is why, you know, especially during this present regime, that secessionists are springing up here and there.
Yes, that is actually my question, because I'm talking about the current situation. Yes. Because we know pretty well, quite well, that 1967, let me say 1966, from 1966, there was the urge for Biafra to separate from Nigeria, all right? Yes. Which essentially led to Nigerian and Biafran war, in which we, however, which there at the end, there was a loss of life amounting to estimating to 5 million, 3 million to 3 to 5 million people, of which most of them were children and women, children that were killed through starvation. Now, after that circumstance, the urge for separation, to secede by the Biafrans hasn't yet stopped. It has continued. Yes. Even before Buhari comes.
Yes.
Okay. Now, yes. As Buhari started his leadership, since Buhari's leadership, sorry, this cry for secession has become even more louder. Okay. Again, another development to that is that also we have not just the Biafrans, but some other groups, like the Oduduwa groups, all right?
Yes.
We also have some groups in the middle belt and there is also
even in the north.
Even in the north.
Yes.
So the question is, why? Why
okay.
is, yeah, go on.
Like I said, you just mentioned in some years back during the Biafran Civil War, that was actually the first stage of this, hanky-panky game. The target then was Biafra, the Biafrans, And you hearing me? Sorry.
Yeah, there was a break in the communication, however.
Yes, yeah, but it's going again. So I was saying the 1966 war was kind of, the target then was Biafra. I mean, Biafra was kind of demonized, painted black, and every other tribe thought that the Biafrans were the monsters in the project called One Nigeria. So the Yorubas, the Middle Beltans, every other tribe fought against Biafra. We all know how it went. One thing we must bear in mind, had Nigeria stood up to be governed and managed properly, believe you me, there wouldn't be need for this agitation. But we see over the years, the same thing that led to this secession attempt by late Chief Ojukwu, over the years, the misrule, the nepotism, the political terrorism went on, in some cases, very, very brazen. And then gradually, these tribes who had fought against Biafra, they became actually the hunted. Not just the Biafrans, they also became the hunted. So at the end of the day, they began to realize that one way or the other, they are also not welcomed, or rather, they were not actually seen as equal partners in the Nigerian project. And that is why you see agitations here and there. The most surprising aspect of it is even in the north, in the middle belt, those of them who took pride in fighting and killing the Biafrans, they are now victims of the same Nigeria they fought and died for. So that is actually why agitation is being sung like hymns here and there. I want to see, I am very, I just want to see how it's going to go come the 1st of October, in few days' time, how Nigerians would celebrate their independence.
So, what you are saying is that people have become aware that those tribes that fought against Biafran then, that joined hands with the Nigerian government, with the federal government and their allies, foreign allies, to fight against Biafra, they have realized that it was a mistake. And on the one hand, is it, okay, let me just, it's just a question for me. Are you saying that they have realized that it was a mistake to fight against Biafra, or are they witnessing the same type of marginalization which Biafrans faced at the time? Is it because this marginalization has come up to them, perhaps in the form of the spate of insecurity that the Middle Belt are witnessing, the spate of a Fulani encroachment Is this, can it be said, are you saying that it's dawning on them? And then
Sure, it's dawning on them, and of course they have actually realized that they made a great mistake. A number of them actually sent the words of apologies to our great leader Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, to the people of Biafra, that it was actually a mistake. And that is the game, this political game. You know, those days, the narrative was so much conjured that the Biafrans or the Igbo man were seen as the traitors. They were seen as somebody who want to take over everything. You know, so the Biafrans were painted black. They sold that narrative to other tribes and they ignorantly bought into it. And as a result of that, they ganged up against people who has actually done them nothing wrong. You know, so now the very nemesis that had trailed Biafra over decades has turned around to hunt these very other tribes that were fighting Biafrans. So it's actually a mistake. They have come to realize it was a very big mistake to have actually, you know, fought against a people who have done nothing to them.
Let's listen to this very young man. That's Reno Omokri.
Reno Omokri, right? Yeah.
I hope you can see it, right?
Yes, yes.
All right. So, although he is not agitating as a separatist, all right?
He is agitating against bad government.
For a better Nigeria.
Yes.
Hopefully. But the point is that agitation is going on here.
That is agitation, yes. There are people who still believe that Nigeria can still be salvaged, you know. There are other ones who think that, you know, the country from onset was never meant to succeed.
Okay, I wanted to ask you a question based on his statement. Listen to what he's saying.
What? Now, get him. Why is the Naira worthless now? It's because of these loans that Buhari is taking.
It's not coming out clear. Maybe you have to paraphrase or something like that.
Excuse me, I'm trying to elevate the volume.
Okay.
So it's not coming out clear, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's not coming out clear.
Anyway.
I saw a map. This American police show them. Can we show you? Show you? Is it okay? This American policeman. Does America have a naval base in any Texas? No. I went to the United States. I spoke there. What? No.
Excuse me.
A naval base in the desert with borrowed money.
It's loud and down, right?
Yeah.
So, oh, watch that guy. That guy might be a terrorist. You see, so let's think about that. Think about that. Now, let me ask you a question. Now, watch this. Look at this. This man is borrowing money. Yet, he has 10 presidential jets. If he needs money, what does he sell those presidential jets? Yesterday, he was here begging for money from the Dutch government. Yes. The Dutch government that he's begging for, they don't have 10 presidential jets. Think about it.
Okay. Now, excuse me. He's making a point based on the mismanagement or misappropriation of public funds.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
He's not going on the substances that concerns marginalization of certain ethnicity, which is the point of view where people like Nnamdi Kanu, Sunday Igboho, and rest of them who are leading the agitation, who are leading the separatist movement taking place currently in Nigeria. Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the IPOB, is the lead currently incarcerated in Nigerian custody in the dungeon of the Nigerian government because he agitated for the separation of Biafra from Nigeria. And he also made the same statement you made previously, that separation, that secessionism, secessionism cannot be attached to those group of people that are trying to regain their independence, which took place as a matter of subjugation or conquering. Biafra, that is one statement Nnamdi Kanu has always made. He has always said that. Seceding from whom? That's the question he has always asked. Biafra has been in existence before Nigeria.
Yes.
He always asks the question.
That's a very good argument.
Yeah, what is the name of your father? What is the birth certificate of your father, 1950, you know, or 19 something like that. So, interesting. The question is, in this case, is why is Reno Omokri talking about Nigeria? Does it mean that he is so convinced? Why is he not talking about secessionism? Why is he, despite all the irregularities taking place in this country, he maintains that he's not one of them talking about secessionists. About seceding. What do you think? He's not.
Well, I don't know. I would actually leave all man to his or her own opinion. You know, like I said, a lot of people probably will see the Nigerian project as something that can be salvaged. Yeah, there is this other, percentage of the population who, for one reason or the other, probably their business interest would not want to see Nigeria disintegrate because they may stand to lose their offices, their companies, their places of business. So, in a country like Nigeria, where there is actually no assistance from the government to such a thing happen, people are
I'm sorry, we have
people are mainly afraid of losing their property, of losing their investment in a case of
breakup of the country. All right. Yes. So
yes.
Okay. I purposely asked that question that way because Reno Omokri is not the only one that is not talking about secession, despite the spate of insecurity going on currently in Nigeria, despite all the irregularities, financial mismanagement, and so on and so forth. You also have people from the eastern part of the country. Those big wigs, if you will, that are in cohort with the Buhari regime. They are not talking about this disintegration of the country. They don't see it as a solution of the problem. So Reno Omokri is not the only one. You have other people that are not doing the same thing. So, but from what you've just said, we can agree. We can say that they are not talking. Those who are not talking about the disintegration of the countries, perhaps or probably because they are benefiting from it. Now, we are talking about economic interests, individual or political aggrandizement as one reason why people know some of those guys are not talking about disintegration of Nigeria. Does this can we as well refer this to some foreign countries that are not talking about disintegration of Nigeria? We have Egypt, that is a company from Italy. We have Shell, we have Petrol. All these are countries all these are stakeholders, if you will, of the country called Nigeria. They have their organization, they have their businesses, enterprises going on at the Niger Delta area. And if they would allow the disintegration of Nigeria, do you think they have anything to lose?
They have a lot to lose, and that is why they may not allow Nigeria to disintegrate, that easily, that freely. They have a lot to lose.
I mean, they would have had a better place to operate, for the business to operate, maybe more. This
is actually, it goes deeper. Don't forget, when they came into that geographical territory called Nigeria, they studied the individual race or the ethnic groups that
are. Mr. Mazindo, your system continues to break up. I don't know why. Are you there? Can you hear me, Mazi George?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay, please turn down the volume a bit. Okay.
My volume.
Okay, it's all right. No, it's good. Sorry, it's good. I should do that from my own set.
Okay.
Okay. Right.
I was trying to say that the whole thing goes far beyond what we are talking now.
Oh my God. This is getting serious.
I think trying to get me online. Somebody is trying to reach me.
Okay.
I just find out.
I understand.
Yeah, but
you should put your mobile in the fluke modus.
Yes, I should have done that.
Yes. Each time you want to come online, you should put it on no disturb. Don't disturb, please. Flight modus, if you will.
Yes, maybe I'll do it right away. I'll do it right away.
All right. Well, viewers, once again, you're welcome to Miro African Diaspora TV MAD. This is Facebook Live. Our program today is the question of secessionists and why is it that some people achieve it in their quest for secessionism and other countries do not. We have here, we started with giving the example with countries like South Sudan and Kosovo. And also we gave an example with countries like Spain and the code that so far has been trying to secede from the country in which they are subjugated to, and they have not been able to do so. So the question today, as we continue to ask this question and answer it as well, we ask you to please subscribe to our YouTube so that you can be notified each time we have a new video, and to join us every Saturday. We make this broadcast, although on different times, but we will keep informing you when it's going to take place. In addition, we want to please to invite your friends and as well subscribe to our website, miroafricandiaspora.com. We do daily publication, and we are representing Africa as a whole in our publication. We are not leaving anybody out in our daily publication. Thank you very much. And remain tuned. Mazi George, are you there? Okay, I think we've lost him. We are actually almost to the end of this discussion. However, the remaining question that I would have asked Mazi George today in this discussion is the agitation of Biafran and the Oduduwa Republic. Do they have international supporters? Because in such an agitation, it seems that the support of international country or countries do play a major role in determining whether a group of people agitating for secession, agitating for self-determination would eventually get that or not. I don't know. I cannot say that there is any country supporting the Biafra movement so far. The question is, if Biafra really want to get the independence from Nigeria, what are they doing to get the international support? What are they doing? Seriously, what substantial move have they been making so far to get this international support? Unfortunately, Mazindo is not here to answer this question. And I don't think I would have to ask myself this question and answer it at the same time. That's not the intention here. On this note, I think Mazundo is back again. Yes, you're welcome once again, Mazindo. He's trying to connect audio. Hello, Mazindo, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Mazindo? Hello? Oh, God. Hello? I think we still have problem connecting with Mazindo. It's out once again. All right. So, like we have said earlier, and we have stated that the urge for self-determination is one of the reasons that make people to agitate for, that make people to ask for secession, that motivates the urge for secessionists and so on. And that economic problem is one of the factors. In most cases, the way the economy is shared among people plays a major role. And in this case, in the case of Biafrans and Nigeria, it has been the oil. The issue of how the oil is played has always played a predominant role. Even it played a role in the case of the Biafran War, even when it was never brought to the mind of the populace. That was one of the reasons. But we do know that the issue of oil was played a major role. Ojukwu tried not to bring it in the discussion, so the Gowon did the same thing, so that it will not be like it's oil that is the issue, but it was, however. Now, this seems to, this issue of how the economy is shared continues to be the problem of the country. And unfortunately, after the Biafran War, it has never been discussed. It was never dissolved. The marginalization of the Southerners, of the Easterners, has continued unabated. And we are there where we were in 1967, which led to the Civil War. And unfortunately, the president of the country has continued to make a statement that does not intend to cool the situation. Rather, he has used some derogative statements about the Biafrans, and people have reacted negatively to that statement. However, in as much as mankind continue to subjugate each other and do not concede it right that where your right stops is where mine begins, there will always be people agitating for secession. So, exactly. Welcome. I don't know if you have had me on my soliloquy.
I'm sorry for that disturber. I'm sorry, but of course I know where we stopped, and I followed you up immediately.
Okay, I was having a kind of monologue, trying to explain certain areas of. I was discussing the issue of Biafran war as a factor that has not been solved so far, and it has continued to linger. And it's essentially one of the reasons why there is secessionism today. That Biafran problem, as I've said, is because of the sharing of the economy. The economy was never shared equally.
Yes.
All right. Before the Biafran war, I think as far back as 1953, oil was already discovered in the Bonny, and the extraction of oil, I think 1956, Nigeria was said to be one of the oil distributors on this earth, and how it should be shared. I think Ojukwu made a statement which Britain actually recognized that, ooh, it's not gonna be easy with dealing with these Biafrans. All right, and Ojukwu did not bring up the issue of oil on the discussion during the Biafran war. It was kept on the carpet. Neither did Gowon do so. What I'm saying, however, is that the issue of how distributing the economy is plays a major role in why people start agitate for secession. If there is no marginalization in Nigeria today, perhaps I think there wouldn't be anyone agitating for Biafra. We must hold this as a fact. Nobody will come out and start discussing about the issue of Biafra if there is no marginalization, if there is equal share of the economy. The most people that own oil wells in the Niger Delta region are from the north. It is unimaginable that someone who is from the north will own an oil well in a place that belongs to other people. And in the 17th century, the Fulani started at Futajalon to migrate to the place they called the northern place today, where they later on renamed Sokoto. Then the Biafran has always lived where they live today, and the name Biafra has been in existence. And today it is somehow troublesome. It is irksome, if you will, to see that those that came 17 centuries ago, during 17th century or 200 years ago, are the owner of the oil wells today in a place that they don't have they don't have anything to do with. So when people continue to see this type of behavior, I don't see the reason why they will not start agitating for secessionism. Unfortunately, I have to say that the issue of economy is not essentially the main reason why people agitate for secession in the Biafran area. It is about ideology. Ideology is ideology is the essence of man.
Yes.
The economy plays a role, but the quest for one to be who he wants to be, I think the urge is greater than the mere economic interest.
Yes, you're right. You're right. There is this urge, to regain one's identity, one's
the issue of identity.
Yes.
So you go on and explain to us how the issue of identity play a predominant role in the in the agitation for self-determination by the Oduduwa and the Biafrans, please?
Yes, for so many years now, the tag or the logo Nigeria has more or less swallowed, you know, the multi-ethnic composition of this geographical location. These diverse cultures, diverse languages, diverse people with their diverse heritage, you know. So under the umbrella of one Nigeria, for example, the English language is now imposed on a people as the major language or the language of the day. So it is to the detriment of these individual languages of these multi-ethnic groups that made up of Nigeria. So this is where this issue of ideology of you know, being oneself, you know, taking a position of one's identity. This is where it plays a major role in as a determinant factor in this quest for seceding.
Right. This is an important, this to me is an important issue in this whole discussion. What you are saying now is that the need for the preservation of culture and tradition, yes, is a determinant, is a determiner for, yes, for the quest for secessionism, because this is actually what a lot of people don't know.
I will even put it that it outweighs more than every other factor.
Okay.
You know, the material wealth, the financial wealth is, you know, as a result of hunger or, you know, deprivation that driven man into this quest for wealth.
Okay. Now let me ask you another thing. This issue of culture, there is always a kind of a relationship between cultural affiliation and how the economy is distributed. If you, yes, are in a culture, if you have a similarity in culture with the Hausas, they will treat you the same way they treat the Hausas in the north. I don't know if you get the point I'm trying to make.
I do, yes.
Or is it clear what I'm trying to say?
Of course, I understand what you're saying.
All right. The cultural affiliation determines the way the economy is shared. In as much as you don't have the same language, I mean, the same language with the Fulani or the Hausa. Now we have to be careful about this statement, Fulani and Hausa. These are two different categories. Hausa, yes, today have realized that they have nothing to do with the Fulani. Essentially, the Hausa have more to do with the Igbo, the Yoruba, than they have to do with the Fulani. All right. Yes. So, however, this is not the topic of today. What we're trying to say is that the distribution of wealth, distribution of economy determines how the similarity in culture determines how economy is shared. And this is also factors that lead to secessionists.
You see, the nepotistic
inclination.
You know, yes, especially of this present administration has become very, very open that even the blind can see. It is actually somehow, it is, I don't know, it is mind-boggling how they, you know, do it with impunity.
Yes, where does this impunity, this impunity, where does it come from? What is the support? I mean, the impetus for this type of impunity?
I can only say it might be as a result of this hidden notion that maybe these people are conquered people.
Okay.
And these other ones are the willing tools. So, you know, for so many years, it has been going on. But we now, or rather the people being who they are, we are not warmongers. We had hoped and prayed that maybe it's going to be good.
But wouldn't it have been easier for for a better Nigeria, if the economy is shared equal, the Hausas get their stake, the Igbos get their stake, the Yorubas get their stake. In fact, every other person in that region will have his or her stake.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That is the nature of man. Believe you me, it would have been easier, and I can guarantee you the resources which nature deposited in Nigeria is more than enough to sustain the whole of that country comfortably. You see, but human beings have over, generation developed this, do I say this greed?
Is it greed or ignorance? I don't know. I just want to understand, why is it important for one ethnic group to want to dominate the rest of the groups? You might call it greed, but if you say ignorance, you are also right. I want to tell you that at the end of the day, it's we Africans that are losing. So it is, in this very broader context, ignorant on the part of we Africans, on the part of African leaders, that they're actually cocking and shooting that gun right on their leg. It might be seen as if they are on the better side, and this other enemy, this other opponent, this other Biafran is at the receiving end. But at the end of the day, it is to the detriment of the black man. Of the entire people that are involved.
Yes.
Yeah, I asked you the question because I think that you cannot beat a child and at the same time expect the child not to cry.
Yes.
I don't know if you know the song. That is from Teresa Onwara.
Yes, I know.
So
Yes.
you will beat a child, and then at the same time you will ask the child not to cry. That's what's going on currently in Nigeria. It's very unfortunate. However, like you said, there is enough wealth, there is enough resources to sustain, in fact, even the
entire West Africa.
So why is it that as we had Reno Omokri saying that the president during the wedding of the president's son, there were jets and everything that came there for that wedding. The invitees arrived to the wedding with jets, individual jets. I mean,
very extravagant.
This is
very flamboyant.
This is
it's funny. It's even laughable.
And at the same time, they borrow money.
Yes.
They borrow money to run the country.
It's laughable.
Father,
it's a pity on the part of we Africans. All I can say is that the enemies of Africa did a very, they dealt a blow to the psyche of the black man. They succeeded in tearing us apart, in telling the Yoruba man that you are very different from the Igbo man, in telling the Hausa man that you are very different from the Yoruba man. The differences, was kind of blown hot, was sung morning, afternoon, night. Instead of finding those uniformities that will bring us together, they found the little differences we had among each other, and they used it, to systematically, make us enemies of each other.
Okay, let me put it this way to you. What if the differences are recognized, just like Europeans do? The Germans recognized their language as German. In 17th century, they had the same problem. Dominated by the French, they tried to break away. They tried to establish the German the Deutsche Reich, you know?
Yes, yes, yes.
Took long before it was realized, but at the end it was realized. They had the 30-year war that ended up with them coming together and settling their disputes and understanding that the difference we have, if it is respected, there will be peace. I think they understand that if God wanted mankind, if God had loved a kind of monotony, if you will, he would have made the whole world the same way, to look the same. But God wanted diversity. And that's why he has the black man. That's why he has the man and woman. That's why they have different kinds of trees. All trees have names. Trees are not the same. You have Iroko. You have what the German calls Aishan, and all the different kinds of tree. And they exist, and they have rules. They have functions. They have everything they give to nature. So
they live in harmony.
Yes. So you have the Igbo man, who is essentially not from the DNA different from Yoruba man, but in one way, through culture and tradition, he differs from the Yoruba man. Culture and tradition are man-made things. They are social constructs, as you know. They don't essentially make us different from our skin or whatsoever, but those are the things that define who we are. So these differences are also part of nature. In as much as it's made by man, it's also natural things. So the question is, what will it cost the Fulani man to respect the Igbo man, respect his difference, and respect the difference of a Yoruba man? And yes, so that if an Igbo man will have his Biafra, and the Yoruba man has his Oduduwa, and a Hausa man has his Ariwa or whatsoever, and there can still be one nation if they will. Why is it not possible? Why is it not possible? Is it, let me put the question down for you. Is it the game played by the colonial master to give them the idea that they are different? Because I think the colonial master did it so well, creating the idea of difference among the people, giving them the idea that they're different, and using the Fulani perhaps as the leading elite, what the German called entlehne Macht. In English, literally translation, that would be borrowed power, giving you the concept that you are the leading one in the real sense. Both those that are given the power to rule and the rest are actually being ruled.
All of us are being ruled.
Yeah, is that what you're trying to say?
What I would say is that the damage took ages, generations to mature. You know, the damage. You know, the rearrangement of people's understanding of themselves. So it's going to take equally ages for people to have their brain reprogrammed. It is actually what mad television is, doing. What we are doing now, the argument or the discussion we are having now is part of the re-education that will take years, you know, before people will begin to understand, first understand themselves, you know, first appreciate, acknowledge that they are, you know, they are created the same as every other individual. When it comes to the case of Africa, for example, for us to know that we are the original men, that Africa, as a matter of fact, is the spirit continent of mankind. When the Europeans came, they saw our rich cultures, they saw our endless natural resources, they saw our humanity, you know. So, and they carefully planned a dubious ways, not just one, not two, not three ways to put us against each other. It is sad that the whole game is still going on till the present day. Otherwise, you cannot tell me that the whole resources we have now in one Nigeria that can comfortably sustain every man, woman, animal, even strangers. The resources are so much mismanaged, so much abused, so much embezzled, that people, that me and you had to run away, practically.
Okay.
You know?
Let me ask you now, do we have a similar case like that of Solomon? I don't know if you remember the case of Solomon, the king in the Bible, who has to manage the case of two women quarreling over a child. And the Solomon had to settle the case by telling both women that the child has to be cut into two, and one and share it to both of them. It was a child. Both women were dragging who owns the child, and the real owner of the women, of the child, sorry, actually refused that jurisdiction by Solomon.
Yes.
So the issue of oil, which is essentially one of the problems in the Nigeria today, is managed by those that it does not belong to, and they can essentially mismanage it because it is not.
They can essentially waste it.
Yeah, is it the circumstance today? Is that
Yeah,
what is happening?
That is actually what is happening.
So if the oil had belonged to the Fulani, they would have managed it well, and they wouldn't have the problem among the entire nation.
Or if the oil were to belong to the Fulanese, one thing, Nigeria would have long been divided.
Okay,
Very long time ago.
Okay, but
yes, and I don't think they will give these foreign companies or foreign multinational companies this blank check, open hand, free access to all these resources. It is because it's not theirs, and instead of them allowing it to belong solely to the Igbo man, that is why we are being held down in one Nigeria. That is why all these foreign companies are being given free check to go and milk as they want, in as much as you don't, do anything that would suggest that you want Nigeria to be to disintegrate. If you're singing one Nigeria, you have your free ticket, you know. But like I said, it's actually sad, you know, if the Hausa man will understand that there is more that unites him with the Igbo man. There is more that unites him with the Yoruba man. That a foreigner that comes from across the ocean is actually coming to steal.
Okay.
It's coming to loot.
Master George.
It's as simple as that.
Well, I think we've actually passed the designated time for today's program with 30 minutes because as it became interesting, I actually
it was interesting, really.
I actually wanted to leave it to go on like that way. However, I would say, let me first of all talk to our viewers. Thank you once again for paying attention. Thank you for coming for today's program. If you are just coming, it is about the issue of secessionists, the motivation of secessionists, and understanding the issue of secessionists as a phenomenon, as a perennial urge of humanity that cannot be quenched. And the question again is, why is it that some people succeed in their quest for secession and some countries don't? Now we have discussed this extensively. I've had this discussion extensively with Mazi George, and we're almost at the end of this discussion. To summarize our discussion once again, we agreed, we assert the point that secession, as I've said, is inherent to man. However, that the reason why some people do not succeed is because of the international interest. and that those people, areas where people have succeeded, especially, for example, that of South Sudan, is because the international interest is not huge. We landed in the issue of Nigeria, whereby we have the Biafran and the Fulani and the Oduduwa fighting each other. That we agree that the resources could actually be enough for everyone if there is no misconception of the entire situation. And we also say that it is the misleading or the seed of discord planted by the colonial master that has continued to ginger the misunderstanding and the conflict among these men.
Exactly.
And that all men actually are equal and could share these resources without much disturbance, without much trouble, but it is not happening, unfortunately. So Mazi George also put down the point that we should, that the people in that region called Nigeria actually should consider the things that brought them together instead of the differences, whereby I say that the differences is actually very important. I put it that the European have their differences and they understand that what makes them different is their strength and should not be seen as a disturbance. Difference in mankind is natural difference and should be understood as strength. If you respect me for who I am and I respect you for who you are, any day we start doing so, that's the time we start understanding what differences mean. On this note, we are going to end this discussion today, and we call on you to come next week in our next discussion. I'm not going to tell you what this discussion is going to be now, but I can assure you that it's going to be another interesting episode of this whole discussion. Remember that this is Miro African Diaspora TV, MAD, live on Facebook. Remember that we are here to represent Africa, to paint Africa, to give you a comprehensive paint of Africa, to represent Africa essentially in those areas where they have been underrepresented by the mainstream media of the Western countries. And yes, on this note, Mazi George, I thank you for coming today, and I thank
you very much
again. Subscribe to our YouTube.
Thank you very much.
Subscribe to our page, MiroAfricanDiaspora.com. Thank you very much for coming today. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you, viewers. Please subscribe. We'll see you some other time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.